Hi everyone. Hope you all are doing good. Uh, there were few questions regarding search head clustering based on the previous search head clustering videos that were uploaded right to the channel. So, like few questions were related to moving the content from the staging or pre-prod environment to the production environment. So once you are done with setting it up, like your dev environment, you have configured your apps, search artifacts there, and then you are ready to migrate the things to your production environment. So in that, there were questions related to how to migrate the saved search artifacts from your pre-prod dev environment to the production environment. So I'm going to demonstrate that in today's video. Yeah, so let's jump on that. So here you can see this is the dev environment I have already configured. This is the instance which is acting as the cluster master and deployer. And I have provisioned two instances. They are acting as the search head. So I have already configured them as the search head clustering. So you can see, right, both are Splunk dev as such, and both are already reporting to the master node. And the same instance is also acting as the deployer. So you can see both the search heads are here. And then I have already configured one index called students. I have also ingested some sample data to that. Before we go to the production environment, let's try to have a look on this data. So this is the sample data, JSON data, which I have ingested to this dev environment. Right, you can see it. And if you go to reports, alert, and dashboard, let's see if I have already configured anything there. Okay, I think in reports, I have configured this one sample report, student review. Yeah, so ID name and value. So same report, it would have been replicated to the other instance in the search head clustering. Yeah, so it's there too, right? So whatever we do on either of the members, it will be replicated to the other members in the search head clustering, right? That's how it works. And if you see the search head clustering status, it's up. Both the members are up and one of them is configured as the captain. Fine. So now our dev environment is configured, it's up and running. We have the sample data. Also, I have configured the production environment. So here also I have this node which is acting as the cluster master and deployer with the two search heads, and both are part of the search head clustering. So this 176 and 33. So both you can see here 176 and 33, right? So both are there. So two search heads, both are part of the search head clustering. If you go here, it should have two members, one of them acting as the captain. Fine. And here also I have created this students index, which has some sample data. I think same data I have ingested here also. Now let's validate that. Yeah, same 788 events. You see what you were seeing there in the dev environment. Let's validate that once again. Perfect. But on the production, I haven't configured any saved searches. I haven't created any alert report on dashboard because that's what we are going to see today, how to migrate the saved searches from dev to production using the deployer. That was the question I think that came to me, that how we can achieve that, right? So if you go to reports, right, you don't see that a student's overview report here. You just have 7 reports here, the default 7 reports in the production. However, in the dev, if you go, you will see 8 reports because I have already created one report here, which is students overview data, right? Fine. So now, okay, so before we go on to that, right? I mean, since you have been working on Splunk quite a long time now, you understand well that Splunk is nothing, it's just the kind of group of configuration files only, right? So whatever you do on the Splunk, right, whether it's on the front end or directly on the back end, everything and anything that uh, resides in the configuration file, right? So it's the bunch of different kind of configuration files where your Splunk related configuration sets, right? So in a in a similar way, whatever saved searches, right, you configure, whether it's report, alert, or dashboard, everything go to the configuration file at the end. So for example, if you want to see this student's overview, right, let's go to, okay, so that's the dev instance. So dev sh1, if you go there, right, and since it's in the search app I have created, yeah, it's the search app, the app search app. Look, sorry. Okay, since I have configured it. Okay, so before we do that, let me also tell you one important thing. So the reports what you configure, right? The reports usually go to under user directory. So you have here OPT Splunk etc. And then since I have configured them using a admin login, right? Reports. So reports usually you find under a user directory. So here I will again have the search app and then local, and here you can see the saved searches. However, when you configure the alerts and dashboards, right, those directly go to apps folder without user directory. So opt splunk etc and then directly search app. So you have two different directories there. So since we have configured the report, right, that's why it's sitting under admin user login directory. If you view the content of this, right, this is the report we created, students overview. And then along with the other details, like if you have configured any action on that, any time range picker, what's the latest, earliest time you have defined, and finally the SPL that's part of that report. So what we will do, since this report hasn't been created on the prod, we will try to push this report to the production using the deployer. Since it's the one report, you can directly go and create your production, right? But the question comes when you are migrating, setting it up your infra from the scratch, and you are done with your dev and pre-prod environment. Now you need to migrate everything to production. In that cases, deployer is very handy. You can just copy the content and push using the deployer to your production search it cluster members. So what we will do, let's copy this content. And now let's go to production deployer. So this is my production deployer instance. And what we will do, we'll go to PT Splunk etc. And then here, so anything that you put to your search cluster members, right? That app should sit under SH cluster directory here on the deployer, right? So you need to go to OPT Splunk etc SH cluster, and then here you will have the folder called apps. So if you see here, there is no app as of now, right? So what we will do, okay, so let's try to set up the custom app here to push the search artifacts to the prod. Or okay, let's hold on for a second. So what we can do instead, so as you can see here, right, the reports were pushed under admin user under search app, right? As I said previously, the reports usually go under user directory, and then the alerts and dashboards go under app directory directly without uh, being user as the parent directory, right? So what we can do instead is, instead of creating the custom app here, right, what we can do, we can try to push the saved searches using the same search app, right? So and that's the best approach to follow here. So whatever you have to migrate instead of setting up your own custom apps there on the production, it's better to copy all the apps and users you want to migrate from dev to prod. So here we want to migrate the report that was created by user admin and that resides under search app here, right? So what we will do, we'll try to copy this admin user itself, right? So here in the production, if you go right, if you go under SH cluster, you get two options here, right? Apps as well as users. So you can push apps directly from deployer to your members, or you can push users also. So let's try copying this admin app. So let's go to that path. Yeah, and we have go back. Yeah, so we have here admin user, right? So let's try to copy this since it's directory. Try to copy this and try to copy to this deployer. So what's the IP of the deployer? This is my production deployer, right? So I'll copy this IP and then go back to the terminal. This. So you can copy the app or the user from either of the members in your cluster environment, right? So since in our dev we have two members, I'm just copying it from member one. So this is, I'm trying to copy it to my production deployer. And since it's the EC2 and Splunk there is being managed by root account, so I'm trying to copy it to temp first, and from there I will copy it locally to the relevant directory. So let's try this. Yeah, so it's not working. Let me try to use the key. I think I need the key to connect with the remote host. And that key have I copied to, yeah, correct. So now I should be able to connect to the, yeah, it's not working. Oh, okay, I think I'm executing it from the wrong place. Let me go back to Splunk etc user, right? So I have the admin here, yeah. Okay, so it's copied to production. Let's go there. Click under temp. Yeah, it's copied. So now I will copy it to SH cluster directory. So cpr admin and then to the opt splunk etc SH cluster, and since it's the user directory, so I will post it under users. Perfect. So now if we go there, perfect. So we got the admin user here, and under admin we have the search app and all the other configs. So whatever is here, it will be pushed to your production search members. Okay, so now let's try to apply the bundle. So opt splunk win splunk apply search cluster bundle, and then we need to define the target. So target can be either of the members from your production. So we have two members in the search head clustering. I am just copying the IP of one of those members. We'll pass it as the target, and then the artifact, whatever bundle we are pushing, that will be replicated to other members in the search head clustering, right? Okay. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so it says the bundle has been pushed successfully to all the cluster members. So now if we go to our production instances, right, search heads. So if I refresh now, I should be able to see that students overview report ideally. It's not there. Let's wait for some time. I don't see it. It got pushed to production members. Students overview. Let's check it on the back end. So bundle has been pushed to all the cluster members. Let's go to members. This is apps. Go back. Go to users, admin, search. Get saved searches. I don't see anything is there. Let's check on the other instance. Users, admins, look. Okay. What could be wrong? Let's try to troubleshoot that. I think I got the problem. So in our deployer, right, we haven't defined app.conf there, I think, for local. So the default it pushes it merges everything to default. And the default directory itself is not there for this app. So maybe that's what might have caused the problem. So what we will do, let's try to create app.conf here. So so I'm inside the search local. Let's try to create app.conf. So ideally for search app, its default is local only, but still I just want to try out this solution once. So let's save it and we'll try putting the bundle again. Okay, so it's post. Let's go back here. Perfect. So now I got the students overview, right? Okay. So now if you go to front end, you will be able to see that report. Okay, so now we got the report moved to our production, correct? And the problem was due to deployer push mode. So by default, the deployer push mode is to default only. However, that behavior should not be there for the search apps. So I will have to find out like why it was behaving like that for the search app. For search app, the default mode itself is the local only. And we already had the local folder. So ideally, it should have been pushed all the configs under local to all the search at cluster members, right? But it did not happen and we had to explicitly define the deployer push mode. Fine, so this is how we can move the saved searches from dev to production. Now let's try to create one alert here and we'll try to migrate that as well. So this is dev search. Let's go to search. So on the same students data, and just configure the simple alert as an alert. Title students count. Saved in app and then configure to run it every 15 minutes. Number of results is greater than 0 or we can make it custom. Count is less than 1000, it should trigger. And I'm not configuring any alert for now, just simple alert. Okay, that's fine. So it's giving me the warning of the trial license. So this alert is created here. It should have been replicated here to the other member in the deb, right? So perfect. So it got here. Now let's go to production. So we will not have any alerts here, right? Because we did not created any alerts here. So we'll try to move that alert configs from dev to production. So let's see, the process remains same. We'll try to copy that app from dev to production and then we'll apply. So let's go here. So here if we go to Splunk etc apps, we have an app called search, right? And there inside local we have this saved search where our alert got created. Students count, perfect. So what we will do, we'll try to copy this app. Again, let's try to copy this to temp. Okay, I think in temp we already have. Okay, I think we don't have. Yeah. Okay, let's try to copy to temp. Sorry. So, yeah. So let's go back. Yeah. Now let's try to copy search app. Right. So this search app from dev has been copied to temp here, right, on the production. Yeah. So now if you go to SH cluster apps, currently you won't see any apps there. Right. So what we will do, we'll copy this temp app. Search to search only, right? Yeah. So let's copy this search app to the SH cluster apps. Perfect. So now this app has been moved to SH cluster and we have the search app. So now let's try to push the bundle. Apply SH cluster bundle and define the target and it should push this app to all the map. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, it's giving me warning for, okay, so for default apps, it's suggesting that we should not do. But here, let me do it for this testing. Otherwise, it's not recommended by Splunk to do this on the default apps like search app and anything, right? So whatever custom apps you have created in your dev, you can easily move them to your prod deployer and then from here you can easily push them to your search at cluster members. Fine, so I moved it. Let's see if I got the alert here. Hopefully it shouldn't create any conflicts. Perfect. So I got the alert moved here, right? Despite of giving me that warning that I shouldn't do that bundle push on the search, default app, which is like the search app. But I ignored that warning and pushed that bundle and I can see that alert got moved here, right? With all the conditions, whatever we defined there, that search count less than 1000. So that's how you can move your saved searches from the testing environment to your production. So, I mean, few takeaways from this session. It's not advisable to do such migrations on the default apps like search app. It's better to create your custom apps in dev environment, configure your alerts, reports, dashboards, and once you are done with those, you easily copy those apps from either of the members in your dev search at cluster environment to production deployer, and from there you can just push the bundle to your members in the production search at clustering environment. So that's how you can do it. Just do let me know in the comment box if you have any doubt or if you got confused with any of the processes, whatever I tried to explain. So I'll try to answer that in the comment section. Thanks a lot for your patience and time.